So today we're going to talk a little bit about color. So if you guys don't know how things work, we're going to talk a little bit about this. I'm going to show you a clip. They're going to be talking about it as well. Now we're trying to anticipate what color it will look like in 2023. We'll find that information out in October. So basically the way that it works is July, August, and September. Those are in the 3 months. That's how they calculate what color will look like. Okay, so they're going to take that CPI score and they have some calculation. The Social Security Administration has some type of calculation, and that's how they figure what we're going to be seeing when it comes to the color. Now that's not for everyone. Now I receive a pension. My color tops off at 3%. Okay, so it doesn't matter. I mean, basically, if it over, let's say inflation is 8%, and people receiving Social Security, they will get, let's say, somewhere near that. Like, let's just look at the last year. Last year's were 5.9%. Now I could not get color 5.9%. I would get 3%, and then they would carry over that extra amount, or they would carry that over into the next year. So I get 3% this year, 3% next year, because you're not always guaranteed to get 3%. Sometimes you'll get less than 3%. And so what they do is they carry it over. So hopefully that makes sense. And that's just in my case with the pension. Now when it comes to Social Security, they have their little calculation. They put that together. We saw at 5.9% for this year. Next year we're going to find out in October what's that going to look like. And some economists are saying that they think it's going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 8% to 8.6%, which would be very high. But when you're looking at CPI right now, the CPI scores every month are up there. So inflation is up there. It's in the 8%, 8.6. It's around that right now. And if inflation gets even worse, then we could see a call even higher than that. And some economists who said 9%, which could be really, really interesting. Now look at this graph here, this illustration. 2018 was 2.8%, 2019 was 1.6%, 2020 it was 1.3%, and then in 2021 it was 5.9%, and it is anticipated to be even higher than 5.9% a month. We're pretty much looking at, we know it's going to be higher than 5.9%, so you see the progression there. And there are certain years where there's no call at all, that we don't see an increase at all. So there's no guarantee when it comes to how the numbers look. But we can see that steady progression, and like they're saying, this is the boost. Okay, this is not a race. It really depends on how long inflation lasts from, right? So the way they're looking now is not long run. And they don't see it really having a heavy impact at the moment on the solvency of the fund in the future, and so forth, and the financial viability of it. But what is important to notice, even with an 8.6% increase per month, that will happen is many people say that's not even keeping pace with inflation. There will still be a shortfall for retirees, and the benefits from, if you went back to 2020, the cost of what you can buy with your check has dropped by 40%. So it is pretty significant. And really the retirees are getting hit by hardest by this. Are folks that haven't saved for retirement, that they depend on that check for 90% or so of their daily living costs for their monthly costs. This is a significant amount of money for them. And if you live in rural America and you're depending on the car, the cost of gasoline has just skyrocketed. And that's really taken a hard hit. And again, this year, of course, we had a bump up this year of 5.9% in the benefit to kind of address these inflationary issues. It just wasn't enough. But in that calculation, it was the Medicare jump up in the cost of Medicare B that really prompts some of that increase right there. But just simply the cost of living is really, really a hardship for many people. The first thing is boost. Okay, yes, this is a boost. This is to offset inflation. So basically, usually the numbers are a little bit less as far as color is lower than what we're looking at when it comes to inflation. So inflation could be at 6% or 7%, and then you can see a color of like 5.9%. So it usually shows what inflation, the actual numbers that on when it comes to inflation. So people are still behind. You still could be in a situation we could see this where, let's say it's 8%, color is 8%, but inflation is 6% or 9%, so you're still behind the 8 ball when it comes down to it. But this is a boost. This is just offset, so it's something that needs to be fixed as well, because that's not, we shouldn't be looking at the situation where they're looking at color. They're giving you, let's say, 8% when color for 2023, but then you're spending that, you're paying a higher premium for Medicare, so they offset each other. So you're really not getting anything, and you're still paying the high inflation when it comes to the product that you buy. Like I said, July, August, and September, those are the months that you use to calculate color. Now, one thing that politicians have been talking about when it comes to inflation, the CPI score. We should be taking the CPIE, not the CPIW. They've been talking about this for a couple of years, and basically the CPIW is for wage earners. People who are working currently. The CPE is for the elderly, and that reflects more when it comes to social security. Should be a reflection of what the elderly are paying, because when you're older you have different expenses. Medical expenses usually go up, and so we shouldn't be using the calculation that they use for wage earners to calculate the color for social security. So that's something that hopefully they can address. Maybe this could be a standalone bill. They're talking, and you have Senator Bernie Sanders has a plan that he wants to get implemented, but the Republicans have not put forward a plan yet. So they need to negotiate something when it comes to Social Security reform. They also, in this video, were talking about the solvency, right? That's an issue. In 12 years, we're looking at a situation where the trust fund can run out of money. The Social Security Trust Fund, if it runs out of money, then we're looking at a reduction of about 23%. And so what they need to do is to reform Social Security. Now, if we look at the situation where, let's say, color is higher, color is 8% or 8.6%, that means the trust fund is going to run out even more money even faster. And so that's something that they need to think about as well, because you're paying a higher percentage, and so Social Security, which means the trust fund will be depleted faster. And so there's a lot of stuff on the table right now. But right now the main thing is Congress needs to do something about Social Security, and they need to reform Social Security, and they need to do it sooner than later. The later you wait, the harder it is going to be, the more money that is going to cost. That's all I have for this video. But I want to know what you guys think, so let me know down below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one.